Hi and welcome to one of my first unboxing videos, and today I'm going to be unboxing this. Here, right here is the Commander Primal Genesis Commander deck that I picked up the other day. So I've got some pretty cool stuff in it. I'm going to move down to the bottom camera here. So as you can see here, you get one Commander deck, a deck box, 10 double-sided token cards, and obviously the Commander cards themselves. So I'm going to open this up and we're going to have a quick look and see what the cards are like inside. So let's have a look here. So I picked this up mainly because my actual main Commander deck that I tend to run is an Eldrazi sort of green, red and black sort of variant, so I figured some of the cards in here may be able to help. I do know that there is some white in here, but obviously with my Aussies, luckily I can kind of put in there whatever I fancy. I'm destroying this box to open this. There we go. Well, so first off, there is the big man himself, and I'll get onto him shortly. So actually I'm really quite impressed with this deck box. This is actually quite a nice size, reasonably sturdy, and that's a satisfying feeling opening that is. And then there's a little version of him as well, which is really cool. It's the first time I've ever opened one of these. Whenever I've gone for a Commander deck, I've just built it from scratch. So it's really interesting to see what I get in one of those. And here's some details all about basically how to play Commander. And so a little bit of lore over there. Let's run this as well. Into the bottom camera. Because that's kind of cool. I'll read through that later. So now, onto the actual deck itself. And I forget how unsleeved, how chunky these things are, and even when they are sleeved, obviously they shuffle in a way. But let's get a look. Actually, I'm going to take on the big cards first, because I feel these are going to be great to look at. And if I can get hold of this without just the one. I thought I kind of would have got the 3 big cards in there, but hey, I guess there you go. So that's really cool. So I've not had one of these big Commander cards before. Actually, I really am quite impressed with the quality on this. I think it's probably the size, a little papery compared to sort of the normal Magic cards, but getting a sleeve for this should be quite fun. But yeah, there we go. So quite a cool effect on him as well. Again, I probably won't use him much, but yeah, that's pretty sweet. So move you to one side. Now onto the actual deck itself. Hopefully I can get into this with a bit more ease than I did the actual box. So, there we go, and it'll tear away. There we go. So, I'm going to probably play a few games with this and then strip it down and then, mix it in with my deck. So your standard sort of, formats, sort of card, and to go online and basically how to learn how to play. And then let's go on to the main cards first. So you've got the Conclave Exile. So he's the one obviously we saw the big version of earlier on, and then you've got over here the Nest Tender. So this is the one that I've heard a lot about. If we can zoom in on that, and so I've heard a lot about this one, obviously with the fact it does the so it creates the egg tokens. Now I've heard of a few people playing obviously against this and finding it sort of quite tricky with the fact that whenever obviously the eggs card, you reveal cards and then just bring out a creature from the battlefield. So with folding some white into my Eldrazi deck, that's probably quite tempting to do, because if I can just keep flipping and going, boom, there we go, big scary creature. But I'll have a play with that. And then the third one is the Cat Warrior, so the Breaker of the Coil. I like the way that actually these are all fairly reasonable costs for a Commander. Now the one I currently use at the minute is Crush the Bloodbladed, so he's obviously X, and well, he's not X, so he's roughly around the sort of the same cost, but obviously with the black instead of the white. And so yeah, so this is quite nice one. Your opponents can't cast spells during combat. That is going to be great fun to use against some of the sort of blue players that I have go against. So my friends probably will not be a big fan of that, but that's great fun. Okay, and then we go on to, I think this is move this to the middle. So I think going up here is now the double-sided tokens. Now I've noticed lately with opening packs of the Core 2020 set Actually, they seem to be doing quite a lot with the tokens lately, where they're just the artwork on them is really, really nice. Hopefully, if these unboxing videos go well, I'll do some openings of some more sets. And fingers crossed we can get to see some of those actually face to face. So, and this is the Heart Piercer Manticore, and obviously the double-sided. Wow, that artwork on that dragon is awesome. And realising how bad the lighting is, but hopefully you guys can see that okay. But that lighting, that dragon artwork is really pretty. That's really nice. And the angel, wow. See, this is what I was talking about, is I really do mean that, like, oh, whoa, that's awesome, that horror. God, that looks like something out of Dark Souls. That is absolutely terrifying. That is so cool. Like, the artwork on these tokens is just, it just really is beautiful. And, oh, that's quite sinister and dark. Kind of looks like Sorin with his top off. Then you've got, let's see, the birds are another one of those. And all the beast tokens. See, I like this, different variants of the beast tokens. Which is really nice. So, and then on the back you've got here the worm. Oh, that's a shame. It's a shame it's the same worm. Kind of would have been nice, obviously, where they've gone with the 2 different beasts. I know they've got different power and toughness. It would have been nice to have seen 2 different worms in the box. But you know what? That's quite nice. It's a token. Quite happy with it. Got the centaur there with the egg. Obviously, the egg working over here with this one right here. I'm surprised that there is only the 1 egg in here, but then again, I've still got 3 cards left. There might be more. Now the Eldrazi. And oh yeah, there we go. I was staying corrected. There is more eggs in here, and that's nice. That looks like the Desolation Twin, I believe, is the token that's for. A Rhino with Trample. There we go. Another egg. Yep, definitely spoke too soon on those eggs. And there we go. So that's the tokens. You get a nice amount of them in there, and hopefully, obviously, I'm presuming they all get used with this. Now on the actual deck itself. Now I am aware that these are very big decks, so I will speed through some of the cards and have a look, and yeah, see what you think. So so let's tell you what, I cut this in half slightly, and let's have a look. So the Rescuer. So the core stuff, I remember these from, I think it was around the Innistrad block, the Avacyn Restored sort of style. There were quite a few of the core allies, and they worked well with, like, sort of Gideon and sort of the white decks and things. I might be wrong on that, but it's been a while since I've looked through that set. I think it was around then they were coming out, or maybe it was the Zendikar one. That doesn't really matter. So it's nice to see some of these cores coming back. And the Hey Mirage. It's nice actually. That artwork on there is reminding me of the stuff from War of the Spark, the Eternals, and there might be them in the background. That's quite cool. Voice of the Mountie. And yeah, so I mean, I'm not going to read out all of these. There's quite a lot. Just going to show you guys some of the cards. And Rock Egg, I remember that's an M. I think I remember getting that in an old M12 pack. That's all going back now. And some interesting ones in here. Now it does say on the back of the box, which I will grab and have completely shredded, as you can kind of see. Whoopsie. It does say that I think it comes with 17 brand new cards. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what they are and try and work them out. And hopefully some of those will be quite handy. So, and I'm liking the ratio so far. There's a few sort of uncommons to commons, and that's nice. Cultivate's quite a handy card. That'll be really good for me getting out all those lands to help me bring out my big Eldrazi's, and then obviously the Populate on there, which is great. Obviously, if I can duplicate any of my Eldrazi cards, and well, sorry, any of the well, yeah, pretty much, that'll be great, and hopefully should work. Yeah. And Explore, Farseek. I like that artwork on there. I'm not sure if that's different to the Farseek I already have, but I will have to have a check and have a look at that. And Grok's Pack Leader, Harmonize, Sakura the Tribe Elder, Slice in Twain. Ooh, that's a Naya Charm. What's this? Choose one. Deals 3 damage to target creature. Returned target card from a graveyard to his owner's hand. Tap all creatures target player controls. Wow, I like that third effect, tapping all creatures they have. Although I am finding myself lately, especially in sort of some modern stuff, going up against some exalted sort of vigilance decks, which are kind of annoying because with the vigilance it's kind of a pain to try and tap them. Oh, and like in another one of these, destroy target artifact, creature then populate. Again, that is really quite cool. But I would have to fold some white into my version of the Commander deck. And again, some more populating white. It is looking more tempting than I may do some of this. And oh, that's nice, just adding some wastes onto there, just for, that's actually a really handy card. That's going to be one that goes into a pile. And then I've got some lands. I am hoping, whether they're in here or not, to see some of the lovely full art lands that you can get. I do love the full art ones, and it is one of my goals to try and get as many full art ones. I did get a few from the Modern Horizons packs with the snow sort of peaked lands, but I really liked the old ones that they did, and having a fair few of them foils rather really pretty. Really do like those. But back to the cards. So Commander's Insignia. And I mean, I'm looking at a lot of these white cards, and I'm literally thinking there's like a few of my friends who run a lot of sort of planes, sort of decks, and they're going to love look to get some of these off me. But there's a good amount of rares in here as well, which is really nice to see. And wow, populate X times, that is a fantastic idea. That is, well, that's a card that's going to get some play and some use, and I'm liking that, really am. And now, see, attacking creatures you control are Death Touch. This will be a really fascinating one to use with something like Breaker of Armies, the one which makes it when it attacks everything, and everything has to sort of defend. So that'll be really interesting to see how that stacks with obviously the assigning the damage and things. And again, I'm loving this this green populate stuff. And ooh, this is pretty. And wow, that is nice. I don't know if you guys can read that. That is a really, really interesting one. And I really do like that. You have to read a bit more into that before Idol of Oblivion. Ooh. Is this one of the new cards? It's bad that I can't tell which one it is, whether it is one of the new ones, but that's actually really handy. So that creates that token straight away, which is obviously the token we saw over here. So it's basically that you run the Idol of Oblivion, just similar to like the Desolation Twin, where you pop it out and you bring it up. That's really cool. Ooh, I love it. Ah, Mythic. That is nice. And I can think of a few guys with Angel decks who are going to want this off me. This is a new one on me, this Embalm. It's maybe something that's been around, but not something I've seen since I've been playing. And that's exile this card from your graveyard to create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a white zombie angel with no mana cost. And emblem only is a sorcery. That is interesting. I really am liking that actually. That's a really pretty, and that artwork's really nice as well. That almost looks like this is like kind of have a look at the arts there. Almost like a zombie styled sort of that chest area and artwork on there. I don't know if you can see it very well. But that reminds me of like Nixlix, the guy, obviously the demon guy. Oh, another mythic here. Oh, I'm liking. I seem to have found a stack of these mythics now, so it should be some really interesting cards. I will stop and go through these a little slower. And Raid. So again, this is not one that I've really come across before. I might sound like I'm very new to this, but I played Magic for quite a while during sort of the Avacyn and Innistrad block, and then I kind of got back into it during Zendikar, and then just kind of stopped where we had. So we didn't really have very many places at the time to pick up many Magic cards. But then a few new places opened, hence me getting back into it, which is awesome. What's this? The Dragon Master Outcast, another mythic here. So beginning of your upkeep, if you control 6 or more lands, create a 5/5 red dragon creature with token, with flying. It's like yes, with token just brings out more tokens. That'll be that lovely, gorgeous dragon token I saw before, which I really am like. That artwork is just fantastic. That actually reminds me, speaking of like the dragons before Dark Souls, that reminds me of the red dragon. If you guys have played Dark Souls 1, the Drake, when it lands on there, it's absolutely terrifying the first time that appears. The amount of times I've walked out onto that bridge, and even through replays, and just gone, I forgot it. It absolutely burns you. Another mythic we've got here. So Felden of Third Path. So create a creature token that's a copy of target creature card in your graveyard, and except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. It gains haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. That's not bad. I can see some uses of this. Oh wow, Kuruk the Primal Hunter. Now I do remember having one of these a while back. So it is really cool that you do get one in here. I didn't realise you were going to get some Planeswalkers, so that's nice to see, and a nice surprise from this deck. And I'm still on a vein of mythics. This is fantastic. So Trample. Whenever a giant Adiaphage, I apologise for my pronunciation there, deals combat damage to a player, create a token that has a copy of it. That's cool. That's quite an interesting way just to pop out a few 7/7s. Soul of Zendikar. Now reach, obviously handy for against those flyers. Create a token and exile it to create another one. That's actually really handy. And wow, there's a fair few here. I think I might be coming to the end of it now, unless there's another one hidden. I've still got this much to go through. So this is an interesting one. This is another legendary creature that's coming in it. So whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. And then for converting mana cost of 3 with a forest and a plains, you get to tap it and populate. So that is actually very handy. That's a really, that I've got immediately running a few ideas in my head with that, because that populate ability, and I'm liking it. Although I have to admit, I've never been a fan of the ones that require double of the same land to come out, especially sort of in my decks. I just tend to find, I always end up stagnating or running a lot of gates and things, and because a lot of the time, without the sacrificing the life or having the right things on the field, the ones that I haven't got my hands on are the ones that enter tapped. So whether or not you want to wait that turn, so for it, or just take the chance on the basic lands, well, it's up to yourselves, but yeah. And then I have the Desolation Twin, which we were talking about before, so it's nice to have another one of these, and which is really cool. Our Reckoning, so Convoke, and so your creatures can help cast this spell. Each creature you tap while casting this spell pays 1 or more. That's a really one or one mana of that creature's color, and destroy all non-token creatures. That's handy to use all that populate to bring out your tokens and then wipe the board. Interesting, that one. The Phyrexian stuff. Now, I really enjoyed the new Phyrexia stuff with the Infect style sort of decks, and there was some fantastic ones on there. So I remember playing against one of our friends. He built this really great one where literally sort of first, second turn, he's there with a 13/13 flying unblockable Infect creature. It was just fantastic. So immediate sort of, it was game winning, and combo took a while. Well, he had the right cards obviously to get the setup, but he played his deck well. So that's quite cool. Whether or not they'll ever bring back something like the Infect engine, who knows in future sets, but it'll be interesting. The Flamerush Rider, and wow, there's a lot of text on that card. Now, it's quite nice actually, because the cards are obviously standard size as a Yu-Gi-Oh player for many years, but the really small text on the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I found myself sort of being a bit like, ooh, trying to get up like that to look into it. So it's nice to know that they haven't gone that small on here. More of that Embalm on this Harpies and Manticore as well. Fresh Meat, Momentous Fall, Rampaging Baloths, Second Harvest, and Shamalik Revelation. So I want another little vein of rares here. You never know, there might be another stack of these mythics in here. So on to the final ones now. And it's here, so another rare and legendary elf creature. Prevent all damage that will be dealt to creature tokens you control. That without populate. This is a really interesting play. I may actually play with this a few times before I strip it out. You never know, it might work well with a few tweaks here and there. And again, some more of these rares are absolutely brilliant. Imprint, that's a new one for me. Imprint is whenever a non-token creature dies, you may exile that card. If you do, return each other card exiled with Mimic Vat to its owner's graveyard. That's interesting. And then you create a token of a creature that, let me try that again. Create a token that's a copy of a card exiled with Mimic Vat. It gains haste, exile at the beginning of the next end step. That's interesting. And that's what we're about to be looking here. So another imprint one there. And Cinderglade, that's actually going to be quite helpful. I left one of those the other day. Exotic Orchard, it's a land. Add 1 mana of any colour that a land an opponent controls will produce. That's quite interesting. So I quite like that actually. Gargoyle Castle, so you're adding sort of colourless or wastes. Then sacrifice it for 5, and I'll tap and sacrifice. Create a 3/4 colourless gargoyle artifact creature token with flying. I was wondering where that would be. Obviously because of the really nice gargoyle, if I can find it, token we had earlier on. So it's nice to see that's what it is for. So I think I'm onto a vein of pretty much lands here, but it's nice to know they've broken them up. So you've got some of the other lands you can look through. That I like. That's adding both, which obviously in this is going to run really well. So that's really nice, that is. And then obviously some plains we've got here, a few mountains. That's a really nice artwork on that mountain. I like that. I really like that. And that reminds me of lots of different things on there. That's sort of a burning building or something from. I feel like that's reminded me of a game, but I cannot think. Bloodborne springing to mind, but I don't think it's Bloodborne is the one. And again, you've got some really nice artwork on here. And we're on to another selection. What we got here? So Ash Barrens, so basic land cycling 1. discard this card, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it into your hands. Blossoming Sands, like you guys have probably seen a lot of these. Command Tower, actually weirdly one of the few ones that I haven't managed to get hold of. Whenever I go to sort of some of the local single shops, they just gone. And I really like to support the local single shops. I mean, there are some great places online you can buy it, but unless I'm doing a bulk order, I tend not to pick up individual cards. But so yes, that's handy for me. Evolving Wilds, obviously every time I get one of these, it's got a different artwork on it. It's always quite fun. And yes, I've got a few. Ooh, Jungle Shrine, what's this? And add one of the 3. That's interesting. That for entry tapped is actually really cool. I do like that. That's a really nice one on there. And a little refuge here. Enters tapped. When it enters, gain a life. I am liking the return of these. Ooh, we've got another one here. Crozen Verge. It enters tapped. Or you can tap it to add wastes. For 2 and sacrifice it. Search a library for a forest and a plains and put them onto the battlefield tapped. Quite nice. Myriad Landscape. Enters tapped, and then for 2 and sacrifice it for 2 basic land cards that share a land type. That's quite nice. I like how to do that. Ooh, that is a pretty card. That is very pretty. Even like they could have easily just left it with a like sort of no little sort of pond or sort of river or lake there. They could have literally just had that, and it still would have been gorgeous. But loving the attention to detail on this. And so I know I didn't even read what it does. So search your library for a basic mountain, forest or plains and put it onto the battlefield tapped. So a lot of these standard sort of land searching, sacrificing ones. And finally entering in Terramorphic Expanse. So sacrifice it to search your library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle your library. Well, that's awesome. Well, that's me literally going through the whole thing. Hopefully I didn't go too quickly for you guys there. I focused on sort of the mythic cards, but no, I'm really interested to get hold of this and have a play. So just grab these guys here, and what I'll probably do is have another look at these 3. I feel I didn't really pay them much attention right at the beginning, and they are the only 3 foils you get, but they are very, very pretty, I have to admit. And so having a look here, so they are nice. I am actually kind of looking through this, really interested in building something around. Oh, I've got a little. Oh, no way. I seem to have had one here with a little dot on it. So you can see the foiling coming through, but I thought something was maybe stuck on the card. But no, that's just got a little tiny. That's a shame. But hey ho, that's just the way it is sometimes, with also printing errors. But you know, yeah, I'm quite interested actually in looking back at that legendary creature I came across, the Mythic. This one right here, this obviously lets you do the populating. That is giving me some interesting ideas for a deck, which is a shame really that that's the one that's buried in here. Yes, you've got some great ones over here. But no, yeah, that's everything there done. So, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this unboxing video. This was one of my first ones I've done, so fingers crossed I'll get better with a bit of time. I know the lighting on my camera, my phone camera here is not great, but hopefully I can touch that up a bit in editing. And again, like I definitely think one of my favourite cards in this so far with that artwork is this dragon. That is, it's one of my favourites is the token, which I find quite interesting. But no, that is really nice. I am really enjoying that artwork, and that's really fantastic. And so that's props to Raymond Swanland, and for creating this awesome artwork. And yeah, and then obviously you have the box that everything comes in, which and does it have room for this? Oh, there does, and that sits in there really nicely actually. And you know what? That's actually a really handy deck box. I always find with my Commander deck boxes, I always tend to look at the keeping them in. Obviously the big bulky ones. This is quite bulky and probably not a long-term solution. Whether this will hold the 100 cards sleeved with the insert in, if I'm honest, with that little bit of room there, I'm doubting it. But hey, you never know, it may surprise you. So, but there we go. But I'll get that shut. Awesome. So that's my first unboxing. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Welcome to the Hobbytime at Healys YouTube channel. This is my first video, so just kind of showcasing. I thought I'd go for a little bit of what sort of stuff you can expect from me to see on here. So I will be doing some unboxings of things like Magic the Gathering, so Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Warhammer Age of Sigmar Champions, any sort of trading card games that I play and dabble in. Some unboxings of packs and things there as well. Hopefully as well, I do quite a lot of hobby stuff, so you might see some unboxings of funky board games, generally sort of models as well. I'm a big Warhammer player, so maybe there'll be some things on there like opening up new kits and having a look at those. Potentially painting tutorials, but I've got to get a little better at that first. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But yes, thank you for sort of coming and checking out my channel. And if you've enjoyed the video that you saw just before this, you are liking and subscribing. Thank you very much.